الله أكبر الله أكبر.
People all over the world recognize this sound as the Athaan, or the call to prayer for Muslims. When it is made, Muslims leave off their activities and gather to pray in the masjid, or what is referred to in Western society as a mosque. Throughout the Islamic world, the Athaan is broadcast from loudspeakers from every masjid 5 times daily. However, it is also broadcast in various locations in America, where today Islam is the fastest growing religion. Assalamu alaikum, and peace be unto you. Since 1990, the Athaan has been broadcast 5 times a day from Masjid Abdul-Hakeem in Durham, North Carolina, without protests from neighbors and surrounding residents. Durham is known as the Bull City, and its Islamic community has been developing since the days of Malcolm X. However, for the past 35 years, most of its development was produced by Jamaat Abdul-Rahman Incorporated, which is Durham's largest Muslim organization. During that time, the organization has established several important community institutions, including 2 masjids, a private Islamic school, a funeral home, a Quran school, and a cemetery. A number of these achievements were the first for any Islamic community in the state of North Carolina. To begin with, we had a Black American indigenous imam who graduated from an Islamic university. This was indeed a rare situation in those days. Then we began broadcasting the Athaan publicly from loudspeakers on top of our masjid. Very few masjids do this today. After that, we started a private Islamic school which had high school graduates that attended accredited universities, including Duke University and North Carolina Central University here in Durham. A few of our graduates earned master's degrees. And lastly, just over 5 years ago, we established our funeral home, which was the first licensed Muslim funeral home in our state. Of course, not everything in our experience went smoothly. Along with these wonderful achievements, there were challenges and problems and setbacks, one of which caused a profound change in the makeup and direction of the community. Our experiences and the considerable effort to establish these facilities and develop our community are chronicled in my book, The Athaan in the Bull City, Building Durham's Islamic Community. As one of the principal founders of Jamaat Abdul-Rahman, I wrote my book to help document the growth of Islam in Durham and the achievements of this organization. It recounts how Islam's foundation in Durham rests upon the lives of Black American Muslims. With the passing of years, the community has grown and changed as arriving immigrants or Muslims from around the world have given the community a decidedly international perspective and outlook. My narrative runs from 1980 to 2014 and begins with a brief description of my past and how I came to Islam and the state of Islam in Durham in the late 70s. The 80s are when things really started to develop. The organization was formed, and it acquired some land and then a building to establish Masjid Abdul-Rahman. In the 90s, Abdul-Rahman School was started and dramatically impacted the direction and fabric of the community. With the 2000s and the dawn of the 21st century, the community's growth was briefly stunted following the terror attacks of September 11, 2001, and then split by a huge fitna or an ordeal that resulted in the school being closed and the community makeover. This was followed by a rapid growth in the number of immigrant Muslims, which by 2010 prompted the acquisition of an old shopping center for the establishment of a second masjid and the relocation of some major community activities there. And finally, in the epilogue, I describe my concerns for the community's future and suggest some ways to continue its positive progress. The Athaan in the Bull City will appeal to all who desire to learn more about the establishment and growth of Islamic communities in American cities, and to those who seek to grow more familiar with the history of Durham and its people. If you find yourself in one of these groups, or if you are simply curious about the diversity woven into the tapestry of the American religious experience, then the Athaan in the Bull City will satisfy your yearnings for discovery.
لا